Hey guys, this is E with Scrapbooking with Me, and we're going to work with the AJ kit for December, or the December AJ kit, I should have said. I have got, let me pull out things that I pulled out of my stash. I've got all the AJ pieces here, I do believe. Usually they give me the leftovers, but we're hoping that this is everything that's in the AJ kit. It is the beautiful Stamperia paper this month, so I'm absolutely excited about that. Plus, Melina did a freebie. She did a digital printout for you that's in your kit. And what I am going to make this month is something a little bit different than I have made in a while. I haven't made one in probably a couple of years. But I thought I would make a hardcover journal. Now, if you don't have books that you know, a lot of people take books and they use that for their hardcover and they take the pages out and put pages in. If you don't have a book that you want to do that way, I'll show you how to make a hardcover journal. Looks just exactly like an old book, and you're going to be able to use it the same exact way as you would. So what we're going to do, now I pulled this out of my stash. This is just some craft cardstock. If you don't have craft cardstock, you can use an old paper bag, any kind of paper that you might have. You can even use a different color cardstock. Whatever you've got, this is just some craft cardstock that I've had in my stash for probably about 4 years. So I pulled that out. I'm going to use some of that. And then I did take my chipboard. Now, we have chipboard in the store, but if you don't want to purchase chipboard, you can use your cereal boxes. They're not quite thick enough, so you may need to glue like 2 layers of cereal boxes together. But any kind of chipboard that you have around, any kind of cardboard, or you may have a cardboard box, you can even use that. The cardboard boxes usually are corrugated, so that'll make it a little bit thicker, but use what you have. That's what I say. That's what we're doing here at the end of the year, is using what we have. Now, I've got 2 pieces that are cut at 6.5 by 9 inches. So cut 2 pieces, 6.5 by 9 inches. And then for my spine, I have cut a piece just 1.5 inches by 9. Now, the reason I cut mine smaller is I'm only going to put 2 signatures in mine. That's all I'm going to put in there. If you want more signatures in, make your spine larger. It doesn't matter. You can make it as large as you want. And then we're, of course, going to use the AJ kit for December for our pages and everything. I'm going to lay that over there to the side, because the first thing we're going to do is we are going to see if I can even remember how to make these. I tell you, it's been a while. I'm going to glue, I'm going to glue. I'm going to take my score tape, and I am going to put a little piece. This is a 1/4 inch score tape. I'm going to put a piece down the side here. Of my paper. And if I can find my bone folder, we'll press that down. I did clean my desk off for this, believe it or not. But I think I cleaned it off too well. I don't think I can find anything. Then we're just going to pull the backing off the top of that score tape. And I used to use score tape all the time. Why I got out of the habit of using it, I do not know. But anyway, what we're going to do is take this piece and we're going to just overlap them just 1/4 inch. Just as much as that score tape is. And if you want a little wiggle room, then just run your glue stick across the top of that. I am just going to play it by ear and put it down. Hopefully it works. Looks like I got it a little crooked, but that'll be alright. Okay, that will work right there. So now we've got a large piece of paper. So what I'm going to do now is I want to trim this down, and you could have done it before you attached them. I like to attach it and see how I want to trim it. I want this seam to be on the back of my journal. So I want to keep all of this and put this seam on the back. Now what I do now is I take my, man, if I could find stuff, this would go a whole lot faster. I take my paper and my pencil and I mark, and let me slide it over where you can see me. I mark 1 inch. Okay, I'll go ahead. I'm going to trim some of that top off, so I'm not going to mark it right now, but I am going to mark the bottom 1 inch, because we want to leave an inch all the way around when we put our chipboard down. Okay, now I know that my chipboard is 9 inches tall, so I want to cut this paper down to 11 inches because I need to leave an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom. So let's cut this down to 11 inches, which is right there. I just need to cut an inch off of it. Now you say, how in the world are you going to cut an inch off of that? Because you put it all together and it's too big for your trimmer. Well, that's a good question. No, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to fold it over because this paper is pretty thick anyway, and I think it will. Man, look at that. I folded it right at the line. And I think it's going to tear without any problem. So I'm just going to fold that inch over all the way down. Now I am going to cut some of that on this side off, so I don't need to go all that way. But we're just going to fold it over. Now I'm showing you the Edith way. There are plenty of other ways out there, but I just want to make sure that I've got 11 inches from here to this line. I know that my 3 pieces of chipboard are going to be, that's 6 1/2, 6 1/2, so that's 13, 14 1/2, if I'm not mistaken. But we're going to leave a little bit of room between them, so I'm going to cut it at 17 inches. That is going to give me enough room to have my 1 inch on both ends. Let me go ahead and mark that. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm going to cut it off right there. Now, I'm just going to lay this down to make 100% sure that that's what I want to do. That one will lay there. You're going to have a little bit of room between your spine and your front and back cover. So you're going to lay that there, and then that's going to give me an inch on this end. So that's good. 17 inches is what we're cutting this paper down to this way. I'll put this in my trimmer, and I can trim that off that way. And like I said, this is the Edith way. Edith does things sometimes a little bit backwards, but I do it so that my brain can understand it. You could have, like I said, calculated everything and cut it off beforehand, but I find sometimes if I do that, I cut it too short and then can't add anything back to it, believe me. Okay, so now all we need to do is cut this one, or tear this one little inch off down here. Now I happen to have this big, huge ruler. If you don't have one like this, just tear it. Just do the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is not going to be seen. It's just, we're tearing it down to the size that we need it. This is all going to be covered. There we go. This is a big ruler that we carried many years ago. I don't even think they make them anymore. But I use it just every now and then, not real often. Now I just want to make sure that I got my 11 inches, and then I've got 17 this way. So this is 11 by 17 is what your base needs to be. So if you've got a big grocery bag or brown paper bag, you can just cut it 11 by 17 and it's ready to go. These are, let me go ahead and make sure again. I'll write the measurements on these so that you'll have it. These are 6 1/2 by 9. So this is 6 1/2 by 9. This is 1 1/2 by 9. Okay? So we got all those measurements. I'm going to let you take a screenshot of that if you want. That way you'll have all your measurements there. Alright, now what we're going to do is I'm going to flip it back over because I made my marks on this side, And then I'm going to go ahead and make my marks up here. The reason I make my marks is it makes it so much easier when you're laying your pieces down. Now this is going to take more than one video. It's really the reason I'm starting it now. It's because, you know, Christmas coming up and a lot of people are not, don't have time to watch videos and that kind of thing. So I thought this might be a good thing to do right now. So that is what we're doing. Now I'm just marking 1 inch all the way around. That's going to give me a place to lay my chipboard pieces down. 1 inch. I tell you, let's go ahead and draw a line. A lot of times if you draw a line, you can do it a little bit easier. I can't really see to get over this to draw a line, but we're going to do the best we can. I can't get over the top of it. Now, this is a lot of extra preparation. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but to me it just makes it easier. And then this ruler has the 1 inch line on it, so you can absolutely just use it. Now this is a 2 inch ruler, so that middle line is my 1 inch. So I can just look at it, line it up, and draw my line. Let's line it up and draw my line. And it'll be a lot easier for you because you won't be having to make sure your head's not in the camera shot. Okay, and then just this little piece right here. Okay, well, my pen just ran out. That's close enough. That'll work. Got all of my 1 inch lines drawn out, and then what I'm going to do is lay these down right in those lines, right inside those lines. This one will go right there. Now you are going to leave room in between these so that everything folds up good. You don't want it to be so tight that when you fold it, your paper breaks and that kind of thing. So we're going to glue this one down first. Now I'm going to use score tape around the edges, and then I'll probably use regular glue in the middle. You can use whatever you've got. Use what you got. I just like score tape on chipboard because I know it holds well. But if you've got just wet glue, then use it. My husband used to say, because I used to work, I tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead with my score tape in the middle. I used to work with chipboard all the time, and my husband used to say, I think if I had you enough chipboard, you could build a house with it. Chipboard and score tape. Probably could. Probably could. Alright. I'm just going to go ahead and put my score tape on all of my pieces, and then we'll come back and start putting everything together. Okay, we've got our score tape all the way around. Now make sure that you burnish your score tape down, because just laying it down sometimes doesn't work. So run your bone folder over it and burnish it down real well. You want it to seep into that chipboard. All right, let's go ahead and start taking the backing off. I just used my little pick tool. And somebody asked what this tool is. This is one that I got with my Cricut. But we have another pick tool. I just use this one because it's handy. But we have a pick tool in our scoring tools. There's one in that if you don't have one. Or you can use like a pen or just whatever you got. Now, in order to make this where I can move it just a little if I need to, I'm going to run my glue stick over the top of it. It'll just give me a little bit of extra time, because this score tape, when you put it down, it is stuck. This is Suquane score tape, so it doesn't move. Now, I'm going to get my head in the shot probably, but I need to look up here at the top and see if I've got it straight. I think I do. Hopefully I didn't get my head in there. Okay, that one is down well, very well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put my center one down because I may have to move this one in a little bit. Just, it will depend. So I put my center one down next. Yeah, with Christmas coming up and different things happening, I thought, you know, I'm just going to do something I haven't done in a while because I've done tons of regular journals and that kind of thing. And so I thought, why not? Now, for some reason, my chipboard separated right there a little bit. So I'm going to put some glue in there and glue that back down. Okay, now what we need to do is, I'm going to leave her in between here, and I'm going to use my ruler, because this ruler is about 3/8, I think, thick. So I'm going to put my ruler up against that piece. I am going to put that down, and I'm going to line them up the best I can, just the best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to be pretty good. Okay, so there is that. Got that one down. You could use a couple of pieces of chipboard to put between, just eyeball it, do whatever. Yeah, I don't use just any kind of score tape. This is the only kind we sell and the only kind I will promote or use because I have used some of the other and it is not good. It will not hold. This, I have got many albums made of this, probably 10, 15 years old, and they're still holding up just as well as they did when I first put them together. Okay. So now we've got that. This one I'm going to eyeball. I'm not going to put my thing in there. Just look at that other side and look at that one. And that looks pretty good. Let me, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to run my bone folder back and forth over that. Like that. Okay, so that is what you have so far. That is the makings of your book. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim my corners. Now I use my ruler, the ruler that we make in the shop, and I put it at the end of my little point there, and I just draw me a line. Not at the very end. I leave about 1/8 of an inch, maybe. And I'll show you how you can disguise it anyway if you do make a little bit of a miscut here. Look at this on my map. That's that pencil coming off. I'm going to cut straight across. Normally I cut, you know, in and out, but this is a pretty thick cardstock, so I'm going to cut straight across like that. But this piece, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue it right there. Reason being is, if I got that cut a little wrong, or if, you know, something's off and I miscut, then I'm going to have this chipboard covered regardless. So we're going to glue that down right there. And I may need to trim that a little bit more. I don't know. I won't know until I start folding it up. But this is just an extra added way to make sure that your corners are covered. And you don't see that chipboard. Let's see, this one I think I need to take a little bit more off. And I'm going to glue this side down because that side's got all my pencil marks on it, which it won't matter because that's going to be covered, but I'm just going to do it this way. And then this one. Just keep in mind, this is just the base of your journal. This is not your cover. This is just the base. Alright, that is what we have right now. Now, I'm going to take my other bone folder, the one that's got the point on it, and I'm going to go around the edges, and I'm going to score that, all my edges. Makes it so much easier to fold when you score it. You can also use, which these are a little bit better to use, you can also use our score tools. These come in a 3-pack. They're a little bit better to use because they got a sharper point on them. You don't need a sharp point, but they got that ball on it. And hopefully I'm not making it go blur just because I am moving it around. I do have my autofocus off. Somebody asked me that. I do have it off, but this camera sometimes doesn't listen to me. Okay, we've got all that scored, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this up, and then I use my bone folder to just make sure that I've got it right up against that chipboard all the way around. I just take it and pull on the cardstock and then just press it with my bone folder. Because you don't want it to be folded wrong. You don't want this to have a fold way out here when your chipboard's up here. You want it up tight up against your chipboard. There we go. So then we have this. Now, what I said is I may have to trim these corners a little bit more. See how that one is got a little bit extra out there? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in a little bit and out. Then when I fold that, it's got a perfect little corner. And I go around to all of them and I look at that. I'd rather have to trim it again is to get too much trimmed off in the beginning. Because if you get too much trimmed off in the beginning, you can't put it back on. Well, I guess you could glue it, I guess, but it would be hard. So I just find this is a little bit easier to do it now. Okay, now our corners fold up nice and neat. See? Alright, the next thing we're going to do is glue this down all the way around. I'm going to use my score tape. And first off, I'm going to go around and I'm going to put a row of score tape right around the edge of the cardboard or chipboard. And I just go right across where my spine is. I don't skip that. I just go right across it. I'm trying to keep this in screen for you. I know it's a little bit bigger and I may not be able to, but we're doing the best we can. Now we're going to put a row right on the end of this one. So right out at the end. And I can't really see up there, so we're going to, again, do it the best we can. Sorry if I sound out of breath. I just got some packages in. I had to pause and go meet the lady and get my packages. So now I'm out of breath. Okay. And then this last one. Right. So now we are ready to take the backing off of these and then glue these down. I'm going to go ahead and run my bone folder across them just to make sure they're pressed down well. There we go. Then we will, and I usually do one side at a time. I do one each side and then I do the ends. So we're going to go ahead and get that out of my hand. Go ahead and press this over, and then I make sure that it's pressed up well. I run my fingers down through there, make sure that everything is pressed up really well. Run my bone folder down through there. Okay, that's nice and done. And then we'll do this side. And again, make sure that you got it all the way up against there, just as tight as it'll go. You don't want any wrinkles in that. Okay, and then the ends. Again, now when I start to fold that over, I look at my corner. It looks good. That one looks good. So I pull it over, press it down. And we're going to do this end. Look at my corners first. That one looks good. That one looks good. So pull it over, press it down. So there is your cover. Now, I am going to take this bone folder, and on the edges, I want these edges to be flat with my chipboard. So I'm running my bone folder right down the edge like that and flattening that out. You don't have to do this. This is my particular little finicky thing that I like to do. It just flattens that out and keeps it from looking so rounded. And I just run it right down the edge all the way around. Now another thing that I do, your corners are kind of sharp. So I take and I just tap my corners right on that corner. It keeps it from being so sharp, and there, that way you don't take a chance on it tearing. There you go. That is our cover. So let me clean this up and we'll start putting the paper on here. Now it folds really well. Don't have to worry about anything cracking in here because we left those openings in there. Left that space between them. So let's decide what paper we want to put on. Now, as I said, this is the Stamperia paper, and it's, I think it's coffee chocolate, I think is the name of it. The best I can remember. So, we've got lots of choices. I'm just going to kind of flip through as I tear them apart. Let me move that. That would be pretty, but that's really big. I may end up framing that one. Look at that. That's pretty. I like that. Let's lay that aside. I tore it a little bit, but it won't hurt. So we'll decide which one we want on the front. Ooh, that one's pretty. Might put that one on the front. I like that one too. That's the problem. Uh-oh. I tore that one too. Be careful when you're taking yours apart. Don't do like I do and just rip. They do have a very sticky glue piece here. But you know me, I just kind of rip it. Alright, I think I'm going to go back. These are 12 by 12. And I think I'm going to put that one on the front. That one right there. Now, I want a little bit of my brown paper to show, since this is a coffee theme. I think it'll look good. I'm going to cut mine down to 6 by 8.5. That will give me a little bit of room all the way around. And I should be able to get this full piece on there. So, 6 this way. Yeah, if I can get all of that on there. 6. By 8.5. I'm going to do it like this because I don't want to lose my coffee pot. Lose a little bit of that top. You'll still be able to see that there's an old build in there. But that will work. And then for the back, I'm just going to use the other part of this. It's already at 6, so we'll just do it by 8.5. Let's see, let's do it this way. 8.5. Now for the spine, I think on the spine, I'm just going to put my brown lace. I'm not going to even cover it with anything else. You could cut a piece of paper and put there if you want, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to put my brown lace on there. You also have this. It's ground espresso. That would be really pretty to spray on some of your pieces and use. We may spray on some of those pages that we're going to put inside. I can't talk today. I did learn how to talk when I was little, but for some reason lately I don't seem to be able to talk. Know what that's a sign of, don't you? Getting old, getting old. Can't get all the words out. This inks up really pretty. I'm just using Vintage Photo to ink it up, so it inks up really pretty. There we go. So this is going to be the front piece, and that's going to be the back piece. So we're going to put that on like that. Yeah, I like that brown showing. Now I'm going to use a little bit of score tape and a little bit of glue stick. Just because I have both of them here on my desk, you can use whatever glue you have. You don't have to have this. And then we're going to put our glue stick down. I'm just going to run it around. And yeah, I'm gluing on top of this, and I probably shouldn't be, but it is what it is, and it'll all be covered eventually. Just don't do like I do. Make sure you put enough glue stick in there, or glue, whatever type of glue you're using, that you're not going to have any ripples. Okay. Then we're just going to try to center it up as best we can. No perfection here. Then press it down real well to make sure that all of that glue is stuck. And then we're going to do the back piece the same way. Make sure that you got your piece the right way up. Edith, I'm talking to myself here. And then, there we go. Okay, that is our front and our back. Oh, I like that. I really like that. And as I said, I'm going to put lace on this, so I don't think I'm going to cover that with any paper, but we are going to put paper on the inside now. Now, I cut the inside pieces the same size as I did the outside, 6 by 8.5. Because I am going to put some lace over the middle part, either lace or fabric, I don't know which. It'll just help reinforce it for many years to come, so that's why I like to put lace or fabric over that part. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the score tape and the glue on this, and we'll put these down. I'm doing the same thing I did on the front cover. I've got my score tape down, and now I'm putting my glue stick. Because I know this glue stick sticks very well. So I'm just putting a good amount on there. And I'm putting it over my score tape just so that I have a little bit of extra room to move things around if I need to. Try to keep that wiped off so that I don't mess up my covers. There we go. And I'm going to use this one on the front cover. And this is why we wrapped this paper around. As you can see, you've got some of that brown showing, so that's why we brought it all the way into the inside. Oh, love that. Melina did a really good job picking out this paper. Melina and Aaron, I should say. If I don't put his name in there, he'll say, Nene, I helped Mama. He does. We do have a few more of these kits available. If you want one, we have a very limited supply because we didn't order a ton this time. But if you want one, grab it. If you want to do this, all you'll have to do is just have some type of chipboard. And like I said, you can use cereal boxes, just make it thicker. I would put, you know, a couple of together and glue them. Or a cardboard box. And then just some kind of paper to cover the outside. And you can definitely use your brown paper bags, because I have used that before. I just happened to have a little bit of that paper left, so I grabbed it out. Alright, Edith, make sure you put it the right way up. And then just glue it down really well. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? I love that cover. Now, when we get the fabric down through here and the lace here, this is going to be even more sturdy than what it already is. But let me find what fabric or lace I want to use on this, and we'll go ahead and put that down, and we'll be ready to start on our signatures. So I found lace. It's not the brown like I wanted. The brown wasn't quite wide enough, but I found this black and I love it. So I think we're going to use it. I am using some PVA glue to put this down because it holds well, and when it dries it doesn't show through. It doesn't have a shiny, well, look at that, Edith. You just smear it everywhere, girl. It doesn't have a shiny look when it dries like your Fabri-Tac does. I'll get all the words out in a minute. I'm sorry, guys. Something about talking and creating today has just got my brain fizzled. My kids are texting me right and left, and so my grandkids are texting me. Erin's texted me 100 times wanting to know have you got everything done? Have you got all the stocking stuffed? Have you got things bought? Have you? So I guess my brain's just not keeping up today. Alright, I'm just going to make sure that I got this covered well. I don't want my lace to come up. Okay, we'll probably have to put a little bit more on that side, but that's okay. I think, yeah, this one. Now I'm going to bring it to the front just a little bit. And I know I didn't put glue down there, but we'll do that in a minute. I just want to make sure that I get this center part down first. See how nice that sticks? It does a really good job with your lace and trims. And I'm going to put a little bit on top of that. When it dries, you won't be able to tell it, don't worry. And I'm just pouring my PVA glue out instead of using my top because it wouldn't come out fast enough for me. Alright, we're putting a little bit on top of there. Then what I'm going to do is take this one and I'm going to lay it down right at the edge of that one where, you know, where this stops. So I'm just laying that down right there. I want to make it look as natural as possible. Okay. Now I'm just going to take my towel and try to press that in as much as I can. I tell you what, I could take this other tool and press it in. Afraid my towel will leave little paper products on there. There we go. That'll work. Okay. Now let's see. Oh yeah, that's just like I wanted it. Now I just need to put a little glue under here, and that will be it on my lace. And I'm just going to raise it up and run just a little bit down through there. And then press it down. And I just take a little wipey, and anything that I get on the outside, I just wipe it off. Like I said, normally it doesn't show when it dries anyway. This is a good PVA. It's a book glue, so it's made to make books out of. Okay, and we'll run a little bit down the back here. Whoops, wrong tool, Edith. Get the right tool. Ooh. Don't worry, we'll get it off in just a second. Don't panic. I'm telling myself don't panic. I know you guys are not panicking. There we go. All right, take your baby wipe, just wipe it off, and then take your dry towel and dab it, and no residue left. If you're as clumsy as me, you learn how to fix these things. Now, I put quite a bit of glue in there, and that's okay. It'll dry, but it will hold. Okay. Now we'll trim these ends off when that dries. I'm going to flip it over. And I found this little piece of canvas in my stash that happens to be just the right size to put down through there. So I'm going to put that down through there. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill this little crevice up with glue. It's going to help support it, plus if I press this fabric down in there, it's going to help it glue, everything glue together. When you're making a good hardcover journal, you can just never use too much glue, I don't think. Somebody might disagree with me on that, but I have learned over the years to use glue. Don't spare it, because if you spare it, you're going to regret it in the long run. Now, I'm going to take my bone folder and just run it down through there, where that crevice is. I'm just going to press that in a little bit. And I can go ahead and, let's see, that one's raising up right there. And I'm using between art glitter glue and that, because art glitter glue sticks this canvas down really well too. So just take your bone folder and run it down through there. And see, all of that's coming up. That's fine. We'll glue it down. Okay, I'm going to move this piece over just a little bit. Got a little more on this side than I do on this side. You may see a tiny bit of that brown down through there, but that's okay with me. It's not going to hurt anything at all. Just going to make sure I got enough glue there that that's going to stick. If this does come up, we can stick it down later. Not a biggie. But right now we're going to leave this aside and let it dry. And I think we are good to go on the front and the back. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and let everything dry. We will come back, and I'll probably just do it tomorrow. I know tomorrow's tag day. This is Make It Monday, and this is what we're making on Monday. But since this is the week before Christmas, I know a lot of people have got things going on, so we may just skip over tag day and put our signatures in here tomorrow. I'll show you how we're going to put our signatures in. And then, who knows, we may make some tags after that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll give this a try. It's a very good way to make a book and make a journal. It's easy. Just grab out some of that cardboard you got laying around, or, you know, I know everybody's getting plenty of packages, so you've got cardboard and chipboard all over the place like I do. So grab some of that and start making some of these hardcover journals. You won't regret it. They're absolutely, I love them. I love to make them. I had forgot how much I love to make them. So we will talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.